Yeah.
Alright lads, just driving home from work, so I thought I'd make a little cheeky video. So a few people have asked us about my car history, so I thought I'd make a quick, I always say it's a quick video, it's never a quick video. I thought I'd make a really long drawn out video about my car history. Now this is gonna be really hard. So I've been driving now for 17 years. So this is 17 years worth of cars, and I've had a lot. So I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to do them in order until I forget where I'm up to, and then we'll just have to kind of freestyle it. So my first ever car was a 1993 Peugeot 306 XS in white, and it was 1.4 16 valve, which was a big deal back in the day. So all my mates had 1.2 Corsas and Novas. A lot of my friends had Novas. So you know, 1.4 16 valve, that was a beast. First car I ever modified as well. So I put like GTI front and rear bumper on. I put 15-inch alloys on. I think they were Momo wheels. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were fakes. But they were nice. They were like 5-spoke things. Big exhaust, massive sound system. The sound system was probably worth more than the car. I'm not even kidding. Sound system was absolutely phenomenal, but the car was pretty grim. Yeah. So after me Peugeot, I bought a Citroen Saxo VTR, which at the time was the pinnacle of boy racer cars. It was the absolute dogs. It was 1.6. I think, I'm sure the VTR was an 8 valve and the VTS was a 16 valve. So it was 1.68 valve. But they were quick little cars. Put some big 17-inch wheels, brand new, bought them from Halfords. They weren't Rip Speed though, they were Fox Racing. Fox Racing, a kind of grim, but at the time was buying brand new wheels, and they were probably the only ones I could afford. Loaded it on cheap coilovers. They weren't coilovers, I put cheap springs on it that I bought off a mate. Put a big sound system in, exhaust, air filter, the usual stuff. And it was a good car until the engine went bang. Can't actually remember what happened, but the engine blew up. I think it was something to do with one of the piston rings or something, but by the time this had happened, the car wasn't worth fixing. So I sold all the bits off it, and then someone bought the car for like 350 quid, which was absolutely heartbreaking, but you know, we've all been there. So the next car was an Astra Coupe, and it was a Baton or Batoni or whatever it was, but it was gold. It was like an orangey gold colour, so everyone thought it was the ugliest car ever, colour wise. Nice looking car, but everyone hated the colour, but I loved it. And I think the reason I loved it as much as I did is because it was a 2-litre turbo. It was the first turbo car I'd ever, I think it might have even been the first turbo car I'd ever driven. Not just the first one I'd owned, but that I loved. So again, went down my usual route, put some big wheels on, went for 18-inch this time, so I was going up in the world, 18s. Exhaust, air filter, put some Lexus lights on it. In fact, I put Lexus lights on the Saxo as well. But that was what you did back then. You didn't do it now, didn't do it now. Might get some for the photos. But I loved that car. That one, funnily enough, I blew it up. But this time it wasn't my fault. So it had been in for a service and they hadn't put the sun plug back in properly. So when I was driving, all the oil decided to leave the vehicle and the engine just seized up and went bang. So that wasn't fun. I was a bit gutted about that. But that got fixed on the warranty. So after that, I swapped the Astra, straight swapsies, swapped the Astra for an Audi A6, 1.8 turbo. Wasn't very quick, didn't have a lot of get up and go, but it was cool. It had 20-inch wheels, it had full leather, it had blacked out windows. It was a nice looking motor. I really liked that car. And then that got an S6 engine put in. So I put an S6 engine in that, and then it was fast. It was very fast. which led us on to the next car, which was possibly the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, was get a huge bank loan and buy an Audi RS6. For those of you who don't know, the RS6 is like a 4.2 V8 twin turbo. So the noise, I think it was a Lamborghini engine that was in them. Why not? I always come down this bumpy road when I'm making a video, which is a really bad idea. So the RS6 was phenomenal. However, I could not for the life of us afford to run that car. That car absolutely crippled me. It was horrendous. It was so, I mean, this is bad on fuel. That was just in a world of its own for fuel economy. It was, wow, yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. So this is kind of where it all gets a bit hazy. So I remember those cars in kind of some kind of order. But now I'm just going to rattle off cars that I can remember owning, but I don't know when, and I might not be able to remember much about them. But that was kind of me early life. And by the way, the RS6 lasted. It might have been weeks. It was a few months. I had it a few months, and then I just started to sell it. And I remember losing a fortune on it, like thousands. But never mind. So, wrapping some of the cars up, I had a Vectra SRI, I had a Vectra GSI. Now that GSI was nice. So all of these cars, I think I've got pictures of some of these cars, but not all of them. So I'm going to try and slot some photos in here and there, of, you know, just so you can get a view. I had a Vauxhall Frontera at one point. So I think this is when the Astra blew up. They couldn't give us a courtesy car because of my age. I wasn't old enough for a courtesy car. And my mate was selling a Frontera for like 400 quid or something. It was mint green, like a mint green Frontera. So I bought that for like 400 quid or whatever it was. And it was shit, obviously, but I loved it. Also had, in that, what else have I had? I had a Discovery. So I had a Discovery 2 or a Discovery 3. It was a 53 plate, so I can't remember which model. Was it just 2? I don't know. I had a 53 plate Discovery, which was amazing. That had big wheels and stuff. It was a nice spec. That was nice. Had a Range Rover Sport for a while. Had a Range Rover Vogue for a while. When I say a while, I mean a few weeks. It didn't really keep them long. They weren't all they were cracked up to be. Preferred the Discovery to the Range Rovers, to be honest. What else has been in there? There's been a Golf GT TDI Mark 5. There's been a Mark 5 R32. There's been a Mark 3 GTI, and there's been a Mark 2 GTI. Mondeo, absolutely love me Mondeo. It was like, you know, the one that looks like the ST TDI, but it's not. It was a, what was it? Was it a Z-Tech? Might have been a Z-Tech S, but from the factory it had like 18s and full leather and all that. I loved that car. My lass hated it. She absolutely detested that car, but it's one of my favourite cars of all time. Right, what else has been in there? Oh, there was an Evo. I had an Evo. Was that an Evo 4? It was an Evo 4 and Evo 5. I think I've got a photo of the Evo. If I can find it, I'll chuck that up. I think it was an Evo 5. That was just ridiculous. It was a ridiculous car. It was amazing, but it was ridiculous. I was too young to have that car when I did, and if I'd kept it, I would have killed myself. But it was really fun. I've had the 5 Series. Had a 530. Was it a 530D and a 525i? I've had a 320D and a 330D. A couple of BMs. I've had an A4 TDI, 2 litre TDI. Worst car I've ever bought. Looked amazing, but it was the worst car I've ever bought. That blew up after like 100 miles. That was not a good time. And then when it was in the garage, waiting for I needed to get an engine that couldn't be fixed. Needed a full engine. While it was in the garage got broken into, and they nicked loads of parts of it. Like they they nicked the wheels, and what I think they nicked the leather interior. So yeah, that wasn't a good car. What else has been in there? For some reason, I really wanted a Mini Cooper, right? Mini Cooper S. Always had like a little weird attraction to them. I was like, I really want a Mini Cooper S. So I bought one, and I was like, this is the best car I've ever had. It's amazing. And I think I sold it after 3 weeks because it was just, it was hideous. It was fun, right? If you were driving it on like a nice little cheeky B road and you wanted to lash it about and have some fun, it was great. But as a day-to-day car, it was shocking. It was so bad. It was uncomfortable. It was noisy. It was probably as noisy as this, but with nowhere near the performance. It handled well, but they're not very quick. If you've ever driven one, you know what I mean. They're quite shouty, but they're not quick. And I had obviously no boot space. There was no room in the back, and I felt like a bit of a plonker driving it. So that lasted 3 or 4 weeks, and that was gone. I'm genuinely looking at cars that are driving past us to see if I can remember what else I've had. I've had a Corsa, and a Corsa 1.3 diesel. Actually kept that for quite a while. It was quite a good little car. Actually, I was doing a lot of miles in the job that I had at the time, and it was just so cheap to run. Completely bog standard little silver Corsa. It was alright, did the job. I didn't mind that. Had a couple of Fiestas as well. I had a really nice one, like a top spec. It wasn't an ST, I think it was before the STs. But it was a nice, you know, it was a nice little car. I wouldn't mind an ST as a daily. Something I've toyed with was getting an ST as a daily. But that was alright actually. It wasn't a bad car. And I think I've definitely missed some stuff. 100% I'll have missed some stuff in there. But I think that's pretty much it. I had a Shogun. Yeah, I had a Shogun. It wasn't a real Shogun, it was the import. It was a Pajero, but it was a long wheelbase one. That was alright. Had that a couple of weeks. But yeah, so I think the main cars that I've had for the longest times would be the 320D BM. I had that for a good maybe 3 years. Liked that car, really good car. Loved everything about it. Just a 320D M Sport, nothing fancy. Was the latest shape, so it was like a 13 plate, I think it was. But I had that for about 3 years, so that was a good car. The Focus, obviously the Focus is never ever getting sold, so I will have this car forever and ever and ever. The Golf TDI, had that for a couple of years. The Astra Coupe Batoni, whatever majiggy it was, had that for a while. Had the A6 for a while, but I go through phases where I'll buy a car that'll last us for years, like the 3 Series. The 330D, I didn't have that very long because I just didn't like it. It was the older shape, but the 320 I absolutely loved, so I kept it. The Golf TDI, while I had the Golf GT TDI, I probably had another 4 cars at the same time, but I never sold the Golf. I kept the Golf. So a lot of these cars have run simultaneously, so there's been a lot of times where I've had more than one car. So it's not like I'm buying them and keeping them for a couple of weeks and then getting something completely different. They'll be like the Golf. When I had the Golf, I probably owned another 5 or 6 cars in the time that I had the Golf, and it was the same with the Astra. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've probably forgotten some stuff, but that's So I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was just a bit of a fun one while I was driving home from work. I'll probably watch it back and remember cars that I've forgotten, or realise that I've just been waffling and talking absolute nonsense. But I like doing these videos for you. I really hope you enjoy watching them as much as I like making them, because I do thoroughly enjoy doing it. If you can give the video a thumbs up, it really helps us out. If you haven't already, please subscribe, because I am trying to build the channel like I keep saying. If you start subscribing, I'll stop waffling on about it. I am just trying to build up some subscribers so I can get more content out, and it just helps the channel out. If you've got any questions on any of the cars, or you've got any ideas of videos you want us to do, because this one was something that I've been asked to do a couple of times. If you've got any suggestions on any videos, give us a shout, leave a comment. If you've commented on my videos before, you will know that I do reply to every single comment. I really enjoy talking to you. So any feedback, any questions, any suggestions, drop them in the box down below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.